Hello, chemistry students. Welcome to the answer key for our first installment of drawing Lewis dot structures of covalent compounds. So, the previous video, I walked you through how to draw these structures by looking at the type of element there is and how many there are, figuring out dot structures for them, and then just connecting those single dots. So, what I'm going to do now is show you the answer key for these other problems. First off, on slide 5, we had Ni3, one nitrogen and 3 iodines. So we had one nitrogen and 1, 2, 3 iodines. Then you figured out the number of electrons for each of these elements. Nitrogen had 5 total, so I'm going to draw the 2 on its side by itself, and then 1, 2, 3 on each side of nitrogen, and each iodine had 7 dots total. So 2, 4, 6. Moving those right along. 2, 4. Turn it on its side by rotating. Oops. Here we go. Turn it on its side. Nope. 2, 4, 6. And I'm going to copy and paste these around. 2, 4, 6 for that iodine. Again, these don't have to be perfect, folks. I was just trying to get you to sort of see what these looked like. If you found that it was way easier for you to do this by hand and take a picture, totally fine. All right, so now each iodine has 2, 4, 6, 7, and notice that I'm putting these single ones as close to the nitrogen side as I can, because those are the ones that are going to be bonding. Okay, so now nitrogen has 2, 3, 4, 5. Each iodine has 2, 4, 6, 7. Then you drew in the bonds. Here's a bond connecting those ones. Here's a bond connecting those ones. And here's a bond connecting these ones. So that's what our structure looks like. 3 single bonds connected to those iodine. That's that one. Then you got to number 6, slide 6, and you said, wait, the formula is CCl4, and you see an H and a Cl, because I made a mistake. Sorry about that. So we need 4 Cls and 1 C. So I'm going to change this back into a carbon. Sorry about that, my mistake. So there's a Cl, and now I need 3 more of those. 1, 2, 3 more for 4 total. Okay, then you did the dots. Carbon had 4 dots to begin. 1, 2, 3, 4. Notice that each carbon has those dots, the carbon has the dots on all 4 sides. Don't double up the dots until each side has 1. We learned that in the last chapter, so make sure that you're still using that information. Chlorine is a halogen, so just like in the last example, an iodine, it has 7 dots total. So I'm going to draw these 2, 4, 6, and a single dot to make 7. 2, 4, 6, and 7. I'm going to copy those dots. Copy and paste those dots over here and rotate them. Like that. Copy and paste those dots. Rotate them. The reason that I'm rotating them is to make sure that that single side is right next to the single side on carbon. That single dot. All right, so now we've got 4 chlorines, 1 carbon. 4 chlorines, 1 carbon. And you can see that the carbon single dots are right next to the chlorine single dots. I'm going to have 4 bonds. 1 bond there, 1 bond there, 1 bond going up here, and another bond connecting these two down here. All right, I know that this is a little bit sloppy, but that is how I connected those dots. See, there's a single bond connecting these 2 electrons here. Those ones are being shared. All right, that's number 6. I'm going to pause and do these other ones a little bit faster. See you in a moment. And we're back on H2S. Let me walk you through these last structures. So H2S means that there are 2 H's and 1 S. So make sure you have the right number of atoms. S started out with 6 electrons. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? 2, 4, 5, 6. And both hydrogens started out with 1 each, 1 and 1. I put these hydrogens next to the sides that just had 1 dot, and then I connected those 2 dots. So sulfur is making 1 bond to that hydrogen, 1 bond to that hydrogen. That's H2S. The next one was O2. Each oxygen, right? There are 2 oxygens, so make sure you're drawing both oxygens. Each oxygen started out with 6 electrons, 2, 4, 5, 6 electrons. Make sure that each of those sides has 1. If you drew your oxygen so that you had 2, 4, and then another side with another pair, and then a side that had nothing on it, that's not how we draw Lewis dot structures. Make sure you go back to the last unit and review those that video if you need to. Many of you drew your oxygens like this, where you connected those single dots, but notice that these 2 dots are still by themselves. They're lonely. So if you drew your oxygen like this, your oxygen molecule like this, you actually need to connect those 2 again. So this oxygen molecule looks a little bit different. There are actually 2 bonds there. If we clean it up, then it's going to change what it looks like. Hold on 1 second. Let me clean it up quickly. What you see down here is this oxygen molecule that's been cleaned up. So it still has those unshared pairs, right, on the top and on the side, on the top and on the side of both of those molecules. And you also have these 2 bonds, but I've moved them in closer because they want to take up the smallest amount of space possible. So they're just going to condense in the middle there. And I haven't shown the 2 dots that are there because these lines basically mean, every time you see one of these lines, it means 2 electrons. So you can see that this is what the oxygen is actually going to look like. So make sure you connect all those single electrons there. Nobody likes to be left by themselves. And then finally, we have bromine. There are 2 bromines. Each of them started out with 2, 4, 6, 7 valence electrons, and then we connected those single ones. Let me know if you have questions about this. Go back and watch the video again. Watch it slower to see how you're doing with this. We're going to start with level 2 next. Good luck.